Joining us right now, a regular, a guy that is no stranger to MLS, a guy that everyone knows in La Belle Province of Quebec, specifically Montreal, covering the Impact, Olivier Tremblay. Olivier, welcome again.
I wouldn't say everyone in the Belle Province knows me, but that's very kind of you. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm all right. Olivier, let's talk about this story that has exploded the last 48 hours. I got to be honest, I've got a soft spot for Patrice Bernier. He's joined us on the show a number of times in the last 3-4 years. He's a class act, talked to many times when he's put on the Canadian jersey. A sweetheart of a guy. So I'm real upset the way everything has unfolded. Let's tell our audience what is going on specifically, even with the situation with his wife, I think, posting something on Facebook, and where are we at today?
Yeah, well, first of all, obviously, his playing time simply plummeted over this season, whereas I've got a bit of stats here, whereas he averaged 2,157 minutes of play over the last three years, where he became notably the Impact MVP in 2012 and an MLS All-Star in 2013. He's only played 340 minutes over his 13 MLS appearances so far this season, and he's played only 15 minutes in the last 6 games. So Pat Bernier has simply not played as much as many people would like to see him play, and now it's reached a boiling point for his wife about an hour before the starting lineup was announced on Wednesday when the Impact took on New York Red Bull. She took to Facebook and pretty much said, well, if you don't start tonight, it's ridiculous, it's unacceptable, it's disrespectful and vicious from your coach, and maybe you should shake things up and go somewhere else where you're going to be appreciated and treated fairly. So it obviously caused quite a stir in Montreal. The talk of the town was this Facebook post. Pat Bernier did not talk to the media on Wednesday, but he did on Friday morning, and said pretty much that he wanted to turn the page, that that his wife probably didn't expect that it would reach such proportions, and that he did not say that, but Frank Lopez afterwards said that Pat Bernier had come to his office on Friday morning and asked for 2 or 3 days off so that he can, and I quote, think things over. So he will not be playing on Saturday, and he's going to let his team prepare for the game with the right mindset and a free spirit as well. So that's where we are right now.
I'm quite surprised and shocked that Joey Saputo hasn't stepped in and really walked up to Frank Lopez and say, hey, this is a legend in Montreal. This is a guy that has given so much in this community for this jersey. Let's let this season ride out with Patrice Bernier chipping in with minutes here and there. I mean, Nigel Reo-Coker to me has no use, I'm sorry. In the same midfield that Patrice Bernier is in, he should be getting much more time than Nigel is. And the way this has been handled, I think it's been poorly. Now, I don't agree with Patrice's wife posting that on Facebook, but I can understand. She's upset. You see your husband coming home not happy the way things are unfolding. Sure, you're going to vent it. I mean, Frank Lopez has to have some more respect and understanding for the player and the person, Patrice, to really, make him understand of the path ahead. Did he ever do that at any point in the last, month or so?
Well, Frank Lopez spoke of Patrice Bernier's situation once again this morning, reiterated that he had been very clear with him in terms of what his role was going to be, how his role was going to change, and insisting that it did not mean that Patrice Bernier would never play ever again. He wants him to play a different role, and he kind of drew parallel with his own later years in Chicago, where he was not. He was not the kind of vocal leader that he used to be. I'm still talking about Frank Lopez here, talking about his own situation. Frank Lopez also said that the way it's been portrayed in the media, at least that's what I gather from what he said. He feels it's been a little bit unfair to him and to the club. But to be frank, I kind of agree with you. I don't get how Montreal have managed this whole situation, knowing that Patrice Bernier has tremendous sympathy within the fan base. And I personally don't think he should be starting every game. Not at 35 years old. Hell, I don't even think Andrea Pirlo at his age should play that many games, as he's probably going to be playing going forward with NYCFC. But I do think that if you give 2 minutes here and there to lose time at the end of a game, you're not going to let Patrice Bernier show the kind of role that he can play in that impact team. And the way it's been handled, especially with the Drogba deal, how the kind of buzz it has generated, you don't want something like that to really just ruin the whole thing and ruin the whole buzz. You want your fan base to still be happy, especially after giving them, such a high.
And Olivier, not to interrupt you, but that's a deadly combination. That's two, meteors ready to crash with one another. You got Patrice Bernier, the legend, the guy that is loved in La Belle Provence, and then you got Didier Drogba, and we saw the airport scenes. We saw the response that people gave there. So you have two massive situations clashing. One massively positive, one massively negative. Something's got to give. I mean, everything was going positive. Drogba, Montreal, I stated this the other night. I believe Montreal can get to the Eastern Final and face TFC the way things are going. But now, in the locker room, in the media, and all this circling around with the Patrice Bernier, this could do a lot of damage, Olivier.
And I think that's exactly Bernier's reasoning himself in doing that. He wants to take a step back. He wants the club. He wants his teammates not to face those kinds of situations. He doesn't want them to have to go and answer questions about him, about his situation. He wants them to prepare for that game against DC United this weekend, because yes, there is a game, because we've all forgotten about it apparently, but there is a game this Saturday, and he still wants his team to be successful. And the thing is also, Bernier's situation is just one of a couple other situations. You've got also Laurent Simon's situation with his daughter who has autism, and apparently it looked like there had been a little bit of a misunderstanding going on with what was promised in terms of care for his daughter and the support that the family would get, and it kind of looks a little bit like like the Bernier thing. Were there misunderstandings? Were certain things in terms of playing time or the kind of role that he was going to play promised to Patrice Bernier, and there was a misunderstanding in terms of what everyone was going to get. Seems like it was a little bit of the same with Bakary Soumaré, who pretty much requested a trade the minute that he started playing, that he stopped starting regularly. It's just this kind of thing, this little story that happens over and over again, that it seems to be very difficult to manage for a Montreal Impact.
I tell you this, Olivia, I've said this to you, I've said it to Lloyd Barker, I've said it to Nick Sabetti, I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again and again and again. Joey Saputo, to me, is the best owner in MLS. He is the ideal owner for any sports franchise, puts his money where his mouth is, gives you everything he got, understands the responsibility, understands the pressure, and embraces it. To me, I think Joey Saputo, I'm pretty sure, is going to get involved in this situation where everyone comes to sit down, because he does not want this to look bad on him, on the club, and moving forward with the chances of them moving to a championship final and winning it all. He's a smart businessman, a smart sportsman, and he will take care of it. The thing that I keep saying over and over again, even though Montreal has really picked up a lot of wins and a lot of great steam lately, I do not believe Frank Lopez is the guy to lead this club to a championship win. I just don't believe it. I either see Enzo Conchina taking over at some point, or if someone else has to come in, having more success and an understanding of the team. I just don't see Frank Lopez closing the deal. Am I off on that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think people have been a little bit tough on Frank Lopez on certain things, but I think this whole situation could have been managed a lot better. And as you said, someone will have to just put the foot on the brake and determine, okay, this is how we're going to go moving forward. Someone's going to have to make a decision, probably Joey Saputo stepping in. The thing that we keep hearing within the Montreal Impact is that decisions are taken somewhat collectively, so that everyone is on the same page, and that's how somehow we end up with those kinds of situations. We end up with with a number of players unhappy in the current situation, or players leaving with the impression, and they gave us the impression that they're a little bit bitter with how it all ended. Someone's going to have to put their foot down and make a decision in this situation, because it's Patrice Bernier. He's the club captain. He has been the face of the franchise for quite a while, going to bat with the media and answering every question over and over again, because he's one of a few French-speaking players who can give quotes to the French media. You have to treat that player. And notwithstanding the fact that he's a local guy, he's the guy that has given you so much over the past 3.5 years. You have to treat him with the respect that he deserves, and you have to manage a situation. This is a business, and this is looking bad for the business, and you have to do what's best for business.
As we close it out, Olivier, it's unfortunate all this is happening right now, because it's a big game against DC United. DC United sitting on the top of the table of the Eastern Conference. I mean, a lot of points between them and the Impact, and also TFC and the others. And I think this would have been a statement game for Montreal to get a result against DC and say, hey, we're here, beware, come the playoffs, we're gunning for you. And I think with all this happening, Drogba, I'm sure, will not probably dress for that game. I could be mistaken, but I don't think so. It's unfortunate, because I think the way the fans are seeing the way a lot of the positives have happened with Drogba, Simon, and the wins, this puts a dark shadow on it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And Montreal, even without the Bernier deal, it's a tough ask. Not only is DC United a very good team that can grind out results, and who just added Alvaro Saborio to bring another dimension to their attack, Laurent Simon is going to be suspended for that game, and you don't want that against a team that has Espindola and Saborio leading your forward line. It's going to be a tough game for Montreal. And now, but Marco Donadel is going to be back from suspension. He's been increasingly good over the past month and a half or so. And now you're going to ask maybe a younger guy like Vandril Lefebvre to step into that back line. You got a new guy in Johan Venegas, who maybe can bring a smile to the fan base that's been a little bit irritated over the past 48 hours. It's going to be an interesting game at Stade Saputo for sure, on the field and off the field as well.
Tough situation for the Impact fans to really, support what's going on now with the Patrice Bernier situation, because he's a class act in the community, on the field, and he is a guy that will outlast Frank Klopas in that city for many, many years to come. Olivier, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Enjoy the game against DC United, and let's hope everything can be resolved in a professional manner, because Patrice Bernier, proud Canadian, proud Montrealer, is real important to that club. Again, thank you so much, Olivier, for taking time to join us.
Thanks for having me.
Olivier Tremblay of MLSsoccer.com really knows his stuff, follows the Impact 24/7, went down to Mexico Champions League action when all that was taking place, and a guy that knows that team inside out, understands the heartbeat of it all, and does a great job.